first fall camp with this group. Went through the spring. So what are you seeing from the spring, and now where's their progress into the fall?
I think we're continuing to build depth. I really like the second unit guys going in, whether it's Jalen Thornton going in there, Darrell Middleton, Torres Simmons, Jordan Jefferson. Those guys have really done a good job pushing our first guys who, obviously getting a lot of attention.
Could you talk a little bit about the process of getting Darrell to campus?
It's been tough, with portal guys. I mean, it's not like we could, do a visit or anything like that. It was a lot of phone calls during my vacation and trying to learn each other over the phone. It was over during the dead period, so we couldn't go down or have him come up and do an official or anything like that. So we spent a lot of time on FaceTime when I was on the beach.
What intrigued you about him?
Obviously, athletic talent and his size. I mean, I love when my guys tower over me. I like being the smallest guy in the room.
How's he condition-wise? That's still a work in progress?
Yeah, definitely still a work in progress. Big guys like that aren't known for wanting to run on their own, so that's been a constant battle. But Coach Joseph and his staff has done a good job with him. He's also embraced the fact he needs to be in shape to play well.
Do you envision having him ready for the first game and going with him if he's capable?
I do, yes.
Akeem Mesidor, his move last year when you weren't here from DN to nose seems an extreme move. So how has he handled that? The difficulties of making that move. Just explain that.
Mentally, I mean, he accepts any challenge. I think the biggest thing for him is understanding that the blocks are on you a lot sooner when you're that close to the ball, and obviously, you're more inclined to get double teamed. So I mean, he's accepted it well. It was a little bit more of a shock to him, I think, at first going through the spring, but he's fine now. He's doing a great job.
Anticipate a guy like Taj maybe benefiting from having Dante and Akeem down there, people having to focus on them a little bit, maybe freeze him up a little bit?
Absolutely. And, the way our defense is built in general, I mean, guys can get free, but definitely, when you play with guys that draw that kind of attention, you definitely have a chance to be single blocked a lot more.
How is Dante done?
He's great. He's in a great space. Matured a lot, worked on his body, able to do a lot more in the defense. I think he can line up and play any position for us right now. Really thrusted himself into being a leader, teaching these young guys. I mean, he's spent a lot of time teaching me the defense as well, so I like where he's at.
You mentioned depth. You talked about a few guys. Are they ready yet? Your first group sounds like it's ready. Second group ready? Maybe even a third group?
I think going into September 4th, we'll be ready. We're not 100% there right now. We still have some time left in camp, but I think for them it's more going to be exposing them to situations to get them to play with a relaxed mind as well, while playing as fast as possible, as physical as possible.
What do you see Sean Martin's role as being this year? Is it still kind of too early to figure out?
Too early to figure out, but I think he can help us out in pass rush scenarios right now. He's got so much length. He's gotten stronger. He's twitchy. I think it'd be hard for any tackle to get their hands on him. So I think he could fill in for more of a pass rush role early on and then get him in more mixed down situations.
Knowing the answer is 100, as Matt Moore said, number of guys that you really need to play with at the D line. What's a comfort level? I mean, is it 6? Is it 9?
8 to 9 is comfortable. I like playing multiple guys. I'm not saying it's going to be like hockey where we're going to be jumping over the wall 3 at a time, but I think I don't think defensive line is a position you can play tired, and I think if you play guys too long to get worn down, and then you're not where you want to be in the fourth quarter.
How's a guy like Jalen Thornton progressing? I know Emil mentioned Saturday. He was a guy that needs to be part of that mix, get in that mix. Where's he coming along at?
He's coming along great, and for Jalen, it's more of just being confident in his abilities. I always tell him, your confidence in yourself have to be higher than what I think of you. I think the world of him, but he's in a great mental space, and that's where it is for him. Just believing he can go out there and do it.
Is it any different coaching players who had accomplished fathers as college and NFL players? I mean, they've got obviously some of that input coming from that direction too.
It's been a blessing, to be honest with you, because I feel more attached to the university and the story. Those guys, I always talk with Dante and Jalen, hey, how was it watching your dad run out there in the NFL field, or your dad bring you through the building? And I think guys perk up, and you feel that, college football is about that connection, that hometown feel, and that tradition, and it lives in my room. And, Dante walks into my meeting room and sees a picture of his brother and his dad's name's on the wall. Jalen walks into my meeting room and sees a picture of his dad. I mean, you don't need any more motivation than that, and I think that's contagious.
Your college coach retired this summer. That catch you by surprise?
A little bit. If you look at it by number of years he's coached, it doesn't surprise me. I don't know how anybody does anything that long. Coach Collins is great, but he's battled through some transplants and things like that. I mean, he had a kidney transplant when I was playing, had a surprise liver transplant during the spring season. The university's changed a lot. I mean, it's not even called the same thing when I played there. So, it caught me by surprise. I never thought I'd be able to coach against my coach because we're obviously Division II, but I was looking forward to him being across the sideline.
You still know anybody on that staff?
Yeah, the interim head coach, Jonathan Gill, great friend of mine, mentor of mine, was the strength coach and the quarterback coach when I played there. Defensive line coach, Lou Scow, was one of my teammates. Defensive coordinator, Rich Reichert, was a colleague of mine and one of my good friends, so I still know a lot of those guys over there.
You got a few weeks. You can't call them during game week, though, I guess? Or you can?
No, just keeping the business like right now, but, it's all love with those guys.
We just talked to Coach Moore, obviously, and he's raving about the depth. I want to ask you, what has been the most exciting offensive line, defensive line matchup that you've seen so far this fall?
Messidor Frazier has been really fun to watch. I don't know. I wouldn't say one person has won that battle in practice more than two periods or two practices in a row. I think it's a play-to-play deal, and it's they're both good young talents. And honestly, I think the improvement of those kids is the fact that they challenge each other every day.
What do you think Messidor's ceiling is?
I think he's going to be really, really damn good. I don't know what the end goal of that is or what that means, but I could see that guy playing on Sundays.
They talked about him, he moving up to the end again, just for spots. Is that purely pass rush situation when you would do it? How would you use him when you do move him back out to the end?
I think it depends on who the premier guy is coming off the bench and how we use him out there. For instance, if Thornton and Jefferson are the guys inside that come in, then we could push them out and in. So I think it just determines on who we're most comfortable as being the fourth, fifth guy in the game and where we use him. But I wouldn't just say just pass rush. He's got more ability than just that.
You talk a little bit about kids having pro fathers and Hall of Fame players here at West Virginia. Walking in that room and seeing your dad up there, couldn't that be a little bit intimidating to a kid? Do you ever think of sitting him down and saying you have to create your own identity, you don't have to live up to that or be better than that? Or
Absolutely, I tell them to definitely be their own person. To me, it's just carrying on the tradition of being a great mountaineer more so than walking the same footsteps as their fathers. It's purely just the traditions just goes through your family. It's more so just a point of a rallying more so than being exact like their fathers.
You think you have a pretty good feel on how to coach these guys? Have you learned them well enough yet to be able to get a gauge and feel for how whether you got to coach them hard or whether you got to encourage them, or is that still a work in progress?
It's a bit of work in progress. I think I have a good idea of what buttons to press, and the good thing is Coach Leslie was here with these guys, and he's also the coordinator. So again, I have someone to rely on that knows the kids well and recruited a bunch of them. So I don't go into many situations unknown.
How do you approach them in the room when you got them? You let them get up there and do a little bit of it, or are you up there running it, or how does that work when you're?
It's a fully fledged learning environment. I'm just a facilitator. So if they see it better than me, then they see it better than me. At the end of the day, as long as they can go out there and execute it, it's fine, right? Like I always tell them, I'm not out there with you. I'm not in the gym with you. Lord knows I'm not in the gym with them, but it's a holistic learning environment.
I know Jeff was mentioning the other day, Jeff Kunis, he said in his, sometimes he'll let the players go up there and run it, and he'll sit back and watch and let them point out things. Are you do that the same way a little bit?
Absolutely. I had a good idea of the defense, coming into it, I was able to work with Blake Siler at Old Dominion, but again, sometimes I use too big of words or too many freaking words, and those guys get up there and say, "Hey man, just go right," Exactly, So I think sometimes they learn better here in their own vernacular.
I mean, is there, you hear the jargon and the vernacular and the different things, nomenclatures. Do you think there's too much of that in the game a little bit? Is it getting a little...
Absolutely, but sometimes being a great coach is having the pen last, so you get to use your own words.
Did you guys practice last fall at ODU? I know you didn't play games, but did you even practice?
Yeah, we got some practice going midway through the semester. I can't remember exact dates, but we got going eventually when school started.
Okay, anything else for Coach Jackson? All right, thank you very much, Coach.
Thank you, guys.